Greetings, my scattered brothers and sisters in the Lord. Trust you know that the Lord is with you wherever you find yourself scattered today, and that you know that His grace is sufficient for whatever you might face today. We are in John chapter 14, and Jesus has just told the disciples, "Let not your hearts be troubled. You believe in God, believe also in me. In my Father's house are many rooms. If it were not so, I would have told you. I'm going to prepare a place for you. And if I go and prepare a place for you, I will come back and take you to be with me, that you may be with me where I am." And then he says, "You know the way to where I am going." And Thomas responds, "How can we know the way when we don't even know where you're going? And you're telling us that we can't go with you." And Jesus says, "I am the way and the truth and the life. No one comes to the Father except through me." That's what we're going to focus on today. I am the way, the truth, and the life. No one comes to the Father except through me. In fact, we're only going to focus on the way part today. When we think about Jesus as the way to the Father, there's at least three dimensions to this. Maybe you can think of more, but three come to mind. So first, Jesus is the way into relationship with the Father. That we can't come to the Father in and of ourselves. We can't know God in and of ourselves. The only way that we can know God, the only way we can be in right relation with God, is for God to come to us. We cannot really approach God on our own. We just don't have access, not worthy of the access. But God sends Jesus as his son, as an invitation that we can have access, that we can come into the presence of God, that we can be in right relation. So you might think about it in terms of knowing someone that can get you tickets, knowing someone that can get you an invitation. Can't get the invitation on your own, can't get the tickets on your own, but if you know the right person, then you have a connection, then you can enter. Well, God sends Jesus as that invitation, as that one to bring us into relationship with the Father. So we can't approach the Father on our own, but God sends Jesus, his son, to be our way into relationship with the Father, to be our way to the Father. So that's the first dimension. Second dimension is kind of built into that Jesus is the way in terms of he's going to create peace through his death, that he is going to bring about reconciliation, that God sends Jesus as the means of reconciling the world to himself. John 3:16, God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten son. And so Jesus is kind of the connection, but even more, he's the way in which God makes that connection or enables us to come into the presence of God. So through his death, our sins are atoned for. Through his death, our sins are covered. We are reconciled through Jesus so that we can come into the presence of the Father. So he is the way into this presence, into the presence of God. The third dimension, Jesus is the way in that he also models for us how to go about living life, how to go about living in the presence of the Father, how to go about living in such a way that we honor the Father. He modeled for us how to love. And you'll recall after he washed the disciples' feet, not only was he making a way for us to enter into the presence of the Father, but he also set the example for us in terms of how we are to live. If I, your Lord and teacher, have washed your feet, so you also should wash one another's feet. Love each other as I have loved you. So Jesus becomes or is the way that we are to live out life, the way that we are to live in right relationship with the Father, the way that we are to live in right relationship with each other. We are to love as he loved us. So when Jesus says, I am the way, He is the way to the Father. He is the way that the Father has reconciled us so that we can be in the presence of the Father. And He is the way to go about life in such a way that we honor the Father and abide in the Father's fellowship, in the Father's presence. God bless. Have a great day and live in the way.